Hello. Of course, you guessed it. This one's got to be quick. For reals. I need to go to bed sometime o'clock so that I actually wake up and having had sleep. But I will say, because I'm like a broken record on a handful of things, you know, the Bible, politics, economics, cardboard, projectors, LEDs, but LEDs includes projectors, whether they're whatever. I always talk, but politics and religion basically go into the same thing. Anyway, I like to talk about Jim Traficant. He was I've mentioned him before. He was a pre-60s Democrat. That's what I refer to him as. He wore a wig. He wore a toupee, and he was not bald. He just wore a toupee on top of his head because I saw a mugshot of him, and he didn't have his toupee on, but he had hair. But anyway, he's when I was in college, I wanted to my life plan, which I've done none of, was to after being a graphic designer, which I did do, but after doing that, I wanted to direct movies. Like Tim Burton, he was an illustrator, and he went to started directing movies. But anyway, Jim Traficant. He wore that toupee. Well, my original career path was to be a director and then be in the House of Representatives, because I loved watching Jim Traficant's 1-minute speeches. Now, he was a Democrat. He was in Youngstown, Ohio, which is very high in mob and very high in FBI, and FBI and mob have their differences, but they also have their similarities. But because the mob was there, there's a lot of FBI there. Jim Traficant would go to the House floor wearing a leisure suit and this toupee, and he'd rip on Congress. He was a Democrat, but he caucused with the Republicans a good bit. And he would today be considered a far-right extremist, but liberals and liberal Democrats are considered far-right extremists if they deviate today. But I'm not going to get into politics too much. I am going to talk about a politician. So a lot of his stuff has been taken down recently. Well, in the last few years. But a lot of it's been taken down. Maybe you can find it on Rumble, but Rumble is impossible to find stuff through searches because Rumble just doesn't have a search engine. You could put it in. If you put in hugging cats, it'll show you all videos of hugging or all videos of cats. I mean, it's that unsophisticated. But anyway, you basically can't find anything on Rumble. But anyway, he would, but he ran for sheriff in Youngstown, and he took money from the mob. And then when there was, and his side of the story is, there was an FBI agent that did a constituent, I think it's considered statutory rape, because I don't know if I could say that because of censorship on this here platform, but I guess maybe I'll get limited for it. I don't know, but and that's similar to why a lot of his videos are taken off, probably. But there's the FBI agent was it was kind of a it was a single mother, and he was like, she like blackmailed her. It wasn't like a violent thing. So Traficant was going after this FBI agent as sheriff, and they said, back off, leave him alone, the FBI said to him. And I said, if you don't, we're going to get you for taking money from the mob. I said, go ahead. I said, I'll take money from anybody I want to. They just can't receive anything in return. So they did. They had recordings of him talking to all these mobsters, telling them what he's going to do. But what he had done was he used the mob's money. He got into office and started arresting them. So he was crazy. He was cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. But anyway, so I mean, he wore a leisure suit that House floor and ripped on Congress. I mean, that's all I needed to know. But anyway, so that was when he was sheriff. And then he went to jail as sheriff because he refused to evict some people from the steel mills that, they all lost their job in Youngstown all around the same time, and he refused to evict some people on judge order. So he went to jail for like a day or something, and he became a superhero after that. But when he was in Congress, he didn't really get any positions because he didn't play ball with his people. I mean, with the Democrats or the Republicans. He did what he wanted to. And the straw that broke the camel's back in Congress was when he voted for Denny Hastert, who turned out to be a pretty bad fella, for the Speaker of the House. And you just don't do that. When you're a Democrat, you don't vote for a Republican. So, and the Republicans wanted him out because he didn't play ball with anybody. But anyway, and it's multifaceted. It's not that simple, but it kind of is too. He went to, and they put him to jail. Apparently, they had no physical evidence. I mean, I remember, this is in 2001, I think, or in 2000, and then leading up to 2001 when he sent him to jail. He went to jail before 9/11. I think. No. I can't remember. I'm gonna have to go and look, because I know that he had some questions, but I think he went to jail before 9/11. But people were coming to him for all kinds of stuff, because no one else would listen to him. So the people were coming to him about 9/11 when he got out of jail in 2009, I think. And then, or 2009 is when he passed away. He died within a few years of being out of jail, and in a mysterious, I would say mysterious not train accident, but a mysterious tractor accident on his farm. But yeah, well, I didn't mention, when he was sheriff, the FBI did do a RICO case against him. He fired his lawyer, defended himself. It was just very irate and did his thing, and he won and really embarrassed the FBI. Then he worked with a Democrat, which is weird that a Democrat would want this, but I can't remember the Democrat's name. I think it wasn't Rostenkowski. He almost got in a fight with Rostenkowski, but it was another disgraced Democrat. But they somehow shifted the burden of proof for the FBI. So if the IRS, the IRS says you owe $100,000 in back taxes, you have to prove that you don't. But he put the burden of proof back on the IRS, so that they had to prove that you owed it in order for you to owe it. So the FBI is embarrassed. The IRS doesn't like him. And then later on, he would talk about this guy from Ohio. His last name was Deminick, and they were saying he was Ivan the Terrible. And apparently, he proved with the Freedom of Information Act inquiry that he couldn't have been because he was too young. It just wasn't the right guy. So he went over to Israel and brought him back. So now he has the Israeli lobby against him because they were going to execute him, if I understand correctly. But I don't know. I don't know. Fact check me. So, but that's my understanding of the story. So, anyway, when he was in jail, I bought one of his paintings, and then they shut him down. They stopped him from painting because, well, they didn't want him painting because they were making like $1,500 to $3,000 a painting or whatever on eBay, and I got one, and it was after they had stopped them, but there was still one left, and I guess people stopped looking for them, and I found one on eBay for I can't remember how much I paid for it, maybe like 150 or something like that. But he's behind Vu over there, but that's his farm. Okay, sorry, Vu. I'm gonna have to move you. I'll talk about you later, maybe. But yeah, that was his farm. So he called jail art school. I don't think. I don't know. I mean, I went to art school too. I wouldn't say that was art school for him, but anyway, look up James Traficant sometime if you want to see some truth that's stranger than fiction. Beep, boop, boop.